Alright, welcome back to my channel. This is part 1 of What If Deku Was a Shadow, and to tell you, what a shadow is, it's a being that I'm making, well, a race. So, shadows, they are a race of humans, well, not humans, they're a race of humanoids, shadows. They live in the shadows, they have their own realm. In this realm, everything is dark, it's black. They don't really show emotions, and they're they're immortal. And let's get into the story. And this one, quirks are everything. If you don't have a quirk, you are considered useless. And the number of people that have quirks is 90 to 1. So if you really don't have a quirk, you are useless. You're looked down upon by everyone in society. Now, when Deku was born, he was also born with a twin sister, Izuku. His parents thought that Deku would be useless. They just had a feeling, so they threw Deku out. He'd just been born, but they still threw him out. That's when a shadow walked over to Deku. The shadow picked Deku up and then walked back to the shadows as it disappeared, along with Deku. The shadow took Deku to the realm of shadows. The shadow then took Deku to the king of shadows, as Deku lived his life in the castle of the Shadow King. They trained Deku to use the shadows. Deku can do a lot of things with shadows. Not only that, but he has increased strength, increased speed, hyper awareness, and superb fighting skills. He's a master of every martial art known to mankind. That's because the Shadow King has been around ever since the dawn of the world. He has been around. There are also other races like him. There's the light. There's the wind. There's the ground. There's the trees. There's the water. There's the space. There's the void. There's the planets. There's the suns. There's the black holes. There's the white holes. There's the atoms. It has a lot of, unknown humanoid species, but they live in different, you could say different worlds. The lights and the darkness are at peace, so they won't be attacking each other soon or ever. But the only reason they're at peace is because the kings made them at peace. And ever since then, the lights cut themselves off from contact with Earth, so you can't contact the lights anymore. You can't contact any other world. The only ones that actually come off to Earth is the shadows. They have some of the most power, with their rivals being the light, the dark, the shadows. The shadows and the lights are equal in power, where shadows have just a little bit more power. To see who's faster, we can't really tell. Do you want to move at the speed of light or the speed of darkness? So, let's skip. He's 0 years old, so let's skip. How many years? Let's skip 10 years into the future. Izuku is not 10. He went through all this training. He is emotionless. His eyes have adjusted to see in the dark. He can see in the dark. He also knows what the light looked like a little bit. He went out to the human world sometimes. Izuku's hair is completely black. His clothes, black. But his skin tone is regular. He doesn't really have much scars on his body, but the ones he do is from his training. He has excelled in weapons training, martial arts. He's very smart. He learned all the history from the earth. He learned every conflict. He read every book that was written so far. He knows everything of this world. The Shadow King is grooming Deku to take over his place as the Shadow King. But there's also another one that he's grooming, his son. His son is older than Deku. So he's thinking after his son, if his son basically stopped wanting to be the Shadow King, he can pass on the throne to Deku. But his son wants to be the Shadow King. So the Shadow King retires and let his son be the Shadow King. The Shadow King is immortal, like every other shadow being. So it's his son. But Deku, he isn't really immortal. He is semi-immortal. Meaning he can live forever. He can die. But he can only die a select amount of times. He can only die 5 trillion times. The precise number, 5 trillion. Because he is not a shadow being. He only has to, he was only raised by them. He is not one of them. He took all their techniques that they came up with themselves, like Shadow Walk. It's one of the fastest moves known to them. Shadow Walk. They have Shadow Blitz, which is basically a charge attack where you run into a shadow and disappear and come out another shadow. They have Manifest, which basically makes a weapon of their personality. Well, not personality, of their choosing. They have Arise, which brings an army of shadow beings. And they are immortal, so they can't die. Then they have Control. Not Control. They have Domain, which puts a field of darkness around them. No one can go in, no one can go out. No one can see anything. No one can hear anything. No one can feel anything. It's just emptiness. That is their domain. There's much other techniques, but I'll have to think on them. Just so did not write them down. These are all coming from my mind. That's mostly how I do what is. If I don't know it, I will research it most of the time. But sometimes I would not care enough to do that, so as Deku is, 10 years old, like I said, he goes out to the human world. He's just walking around. His all black hair, his all black clothes, all black shoes. He's dressed in all black. While he's walking around in the human world, the sun doesn't burn his eyes. His eyes, they're the color purple. As people look into his eyes, they see emptiness. It's like they're transported somewhere. Somewhere empty. They can't see, they can't feel, they can't smell, they can't breathe, they can't hear, they can't do anything. They're just there. And it's dark. And they're lonely. As Deku walks down the street, as it starts to rain, this is called the shadow effect. Whenever a shadow being comes to the world, or someone has the same, teachings of a shadow being, the world starts to cry, as feeling their sadness, as you could say. Why they're sad? Because they live in eternal darkness, devoid of all light. It's not that they chose to live in eternal darkness. It's because they were forced to. They did try to get the Light King to help them, to get them light, but he couldn't cross over to the dark realm, as they couldn't cross over to the light realm. So, while the Light King was stuck in eternal light, they were stuck in eternal darkness. And that's the only emotion most shadow beings have. Sadness, depression, emptiness. Most of them have those. Deku is empty. He feels no emotions. But he does sometimes feel this ache in his heart, like he's supposed to feel something. He just doesn't know what it is. He knows that he looks nothing like the other shadow beings. He doesn't look like the Shadow King, the Shadow Queen, or none of the Shadow residents. None of the shadow beings look just like him. He looked more like these people, these humans as they call them. So, over the years, when he was, in the shadow realm, when he was 5, he did ask this question. They explained to him, you are of the realm of humans, or the realm of, humans, mankind as they say. We found you. You were abandoned by your family. So we took you in. We raised you as one of our own. That's the end of that. As Deku was walking around the city in the rain, it's not bothering him. He remembered the stories that the Shadow King used to tell. The Shadow King says he once had a friend. He was the Water King. Sometimes when he walked, it rained, but he enjoyed the rain. It brought him comfort. And then when I walked, it also rained. But he told me, my rain that I brought and his rain, they were two different things. His rain was natural, just that It came along with his powers. As when we walk, shadows come behind us. But he said, when I walk and rain falls behind me, it's the world being sad. It's telling him that the world is sad because it feels my pain. It feels my suffering. And I did not know what that meant. Because we are void of these emotions, as humans call it. Yes, that's the end of that. Deku was walking around. His clothes don't get wet, but his hair do. His body is wet, but his clothes are dry. His dark purple eyes glow. They glow brightly. This throws some people off by the glow of his bright purple eyes. As he walks on the street more, he comes across this attack, this scenario, as villains are holding people hostage. As the police are outside listening and demanding that the criminals or villains let the hostages go. As the villains say, if you want them to walk free, then bring me $2 million. And if I don't get my $2 million, well, you can say bye-bye to these, hostages. As Deku was seeing this, and he just, for some reason, his body telling him to act. So he does. He uses shadows. He used the shadows to wrap this man up. And the rest of them. He then holds them down. The police then moves in and handcuffs the men. They then take them away, and they try to think whoever did it, but they don't know who. As one of the hostages look over, and they see this boy with glowing purple eyes, pitch black hair, pitch black clothing, just standing there looking at her. She is wondering why he's looking at her. And when she blinked, he was gone. She's wondering what that meant. She's wondering, why does he look familiar? Why does she feel familiarity with him? Or however you say the word. Familiarity with him. She doesn't know why, but she feels like she's seen him before. So, as the kid's mother asks her to come along as they walk home, Izuku went back to the Shadow Realm. Something is in his mind is telling him, you have to protect her. She is important. Protect her. Protect her. Protect her. It's your job to protect her. You must protect her. Protect her. Protect her. Your job, protect her. Protect her. Protect her. It's your job to do it. You probably should be protecting her. Protect her. Protect her. Protect her. If these thoughts keep running through his mind, he's wondering, what do they mean by protect her? Protect who? Are they talking about that girl that I saw? He doesn't know. as he keeps this hidden. And 2 more years pass. And over those 2 years, he always watched this girl. And every time she noticed him standing in the rain, every time that he's there, it's always raining. But not anywhere else. It's just raining where he's at. And every time she looks at him and she blink or she lose focus for a little bit, he always vanishes. The girl then sees his face clearly, as she was a very good drawer. As the girl draws a picture of the boy's face. She not only drew a picture of his face, she drew down the features. Dark, purple eyes that glow. A face that looked almost like her father's. Dark, pitch black hair. Pitch black clothing. And an emotionless face. As she shows this picture to her mother and her father, they say, "Sweetie, why did you draw this picture? Who is this?" As she says, "This is a picture of the person I always see everywhere I go." As they say, "Is someone stalking you?" As she says, "I don't know. Every time I see him, he's standing in the rain. But it's not raining anywhere else where he's at. Just around him. I'm getting a little bit scared." As Sasaki says, well, the cat's out of the bag now. It's Inko, Hisashi, and Izuku. Hisashi says, "Wait, this looks like me a little bit when I was younger." And Izuku says, "Yeah, I thought that too, Dad, when you showed me the pictures of you." Hisashi says, "That's strange. Is there really someone that looks like me with purple hair, no, purple eyes and pitch black hair? I don't really know." As no, they just let it go for that day. Now, after 2 years of Deku following her, watching over her, he thinks, well, how about I talk to her one day? As after all these 2 years, he finally approaches her, raining over his head. He walks up to her and he asks, in Japanese, and not in the language of the shadow beings. He asks her, "Why is it that every time I see you, they say to protect you? Are you important to me?" Why is it that whenever you get hurt, I feel this pain in my heart? Can you explain it to me? Girl, as Izuku is a little bit shocked from the way he's speaking. And, the fact that he says, "Every time that I see you, I feel the need to protect you. And every time you get hurt, there's pain in my heart." As she thinks about the words, and she asks him to follow her. As Izuku says, okay, but I really want to answer to my question. Can you provide that answer? As Izuku says, I can provide that answer, but not right now. As Deku says, fine, I shall follow you. Lead the way. As Izuku leads the way to her house. As she goes inside her house and Iko and Sashi sees this kid, pitch black hair, pitch black clothing, purple glowing eyes. It's raining. Outside the house it's raining. The kid's hair was wet in his body, but not his clothing. He has an emotionless face. As they ask Izuku, who is this? And she says, this is the kid that I've been telling you about. Well, not the kid. This is the boy I've been telling you about who be, looking at me. And I feel, familiarity every time I look at him. As Iko and Sashi look at him, Deku. But they don't know why Izuku feels familiarity every time she looks at him. They ask him a couple of questions, like, what's his name? He says, my name is Deku Shadow. They say, wait, your name is Deku Shadow? He says, yes. They say, what's your father's name? He says, I do not know my father. Your mother, don't know her either. Do you have any siblings? I don't know. Do you know anything about yourself? He says, no, I don't. From what they have been telling me, they found me and they raised me. I have been with them ever since I was a baby. I don't know if I have any real parents. I don't know anything about them. As Nico and Sashi were thinking, who would do such a thing as abandoning a baby? Not knowing that they are the people. So they talk to Deku a lot in a while. They ask him why, he's been looking at Izuku, and he says that he feels a familiarity with her. He feels the need to protect her. They don't know what it is, but they just let it slide. And over half a year, Deku, stays with them. Well, not stays with them. He talks to them, And on this day, they fed up with it, so they thinking, why does he look so much like Hisashi? So they bring them down to a hospital. They take blood samples from Hisashi and from Deku. They test the blood by comparing it, side by side. And they see that their blood is very similar. It shows that they are related. The relation, father and son. As it finally hits Inko and Hisashi, this is the son that they threw away, so many years ago. 13 years to be precise. Well, 12 and a half. But it is 13. As Deku and Izuku are 13. As they say, wait, you're Izuku. And Izuku says, well, Deku says, who is this Izuku you speak of? My name is Deku Shadow. I know no one by the name of Izuku. Inko Sashi says that you're our son. As Deku says, what do you mean by that? I have no mother, no father. I was raised by them and them only. Before Eiko and Sachi could ask who are them, Izuki then stands up and says, so wait, you're saying that he is my brother? And Eiko and Sachi both nod their heads, signifying that she is correct. She is conflicted about this. In her thoughts, she is thinking, so I had a brother all this time. Why didn't I know about it? Why didn't they ever say anything about that? As she does get a little angry and asks, if I had a brother this whole time, why did you tell me that? As they say that we got rid of him from the day he was born. We thought he would be useless. But, they see how he dropped out. They don't know what his quirk is, so they ask, what is your quirk? As Deku says, quirks, what you guys call it. From where I was raised, we call it, as he puts out his hand and shadows come off it, we call it power, techniques. As he says, well, I have to go. Goodbye. As he walks towards the shadow and dissipates, as he moves to the shadows, into the realm of shadows. And this is where I'm going to leave this off. Thank you for watching. And this is part 1 of What If Deku Was a Shadow. This is going to be a hero what if, so no need to worry. I'm going to, send Deku down a path of hero-y, but he still needs to learn everything before he becomes a hero. And UA is in college, so goodbye. See you guys next time.